HubSpot makes impossible growth impossibly easy for their customers. And here's the perfect example. Morehouse College needed to reach new students with fresh, engaging content. But with a massive 900-page website, even the tiniest updates took 30 minutes to publish. Breeze, HubSpot's collection of AI tools, helped them write and optimize their content in a fraction of the time. The results? 30% more page views, and visitors now spend 27% more time on their site. If you're ready for impossible growth like this, you can visit HubSpot.com. Hello and good morning, everybody. Today's Thursday, July 17th. I'm Jon Weigell with Juliet Bennett-Ryla, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Turns out AI isn't just coming for your job, it's coming to narc on you too. From rental car companies using robot eyes to spot dents smaller than a freckle to AI debt collectors, artificial intelligence has officially become the world's most efficient tattletale. So how is this happening, and what companies are using it to snitch effectively? We'll get to all that in a bit, but first let's give you the news in business and tech. Kicking us off here, the rights to Billy McFarland's catastrophic Fyre Festival sold on eBay for just over $245,000 to an unknown buyer from whom we have a ton of questions, starting with why would they do that? McFarland served about 3.5 years in prison for financial crimes related to the festival, and he attempted to remount it after his release in 2022. Juliet, what happened with that remount attempt?
It never happened.
Okay.
It never happened. And I believe it was supposed to be in Mexico.
Oh.
And then the government was like, no, he never said anything to us about that. Yeah, it was supposed to take place in Mexico. And again, just like Fyre Festival, it was going to be very expensive. I think the cheapest ticket was something like $1,400. But if you were going to ball out of control, it was like over $1 million.
Wow.
And then it never happened because the city where he said he was going to have the festival, officials there said that there had never been any record of him planning the event. He had never talked to them. There were no permits. And then I guess he was like, no, I was totally working on it, but also it's not going to happen. And also I'm going to sell the brand. And it's like,
okay.
I got to wonder about this guy because after the first time, after going to jail, he comes out, he has all this notoriety to do it again. And wouldn't it have been kind of sick if he had pulled it off?
That would be sick. So legendary, actually.
Be like, oh my God, the Fyre Festival guy actually did it. And it was
comeback of the century.
Incredible. It was Coachella on steroids.
Right. He has the notoriety. He has the credibility. He could actually come back and make the craziest music festival ever if he wanted to. But
yeah, it would have been so cool. But I get how people are they're big talkers. They're in over their heads. They promise. They underdeliver. They can't say stuff doesn't work out right. You think something's going to be easy. I've had people plan birthday parties where oh my God, I ordered my cake and it's not ready or whatever. I get it. But 2 times, man. 2 times.
Yeah.
What is going on?
He didn't even get it done the second time, which is the craziest thing. It was not even an attempt.
Yeah. And now it's okay, I guess you can sell this brand. And then my other question is, okay, well, what is the brand worth? Because the brand is kind of a joke. So my question is, what are you going to do with this?
Right.
I could see Mischief, that brand that makes sort of weird art, doing something with it. But it's if this person does not put on a Fyre Fest theme Fyre Fest where everything is a disaster, an immersive disaster experience, I'm going to be really disappointed. Frankly.
That would be incredible. Maybe there could also be some fun merch rights in there. Sell some Fyre Fest t-shirts with a piece of toast with a piece of cheese on it. I might buy that actually.
Yes. I think after the disastrous Scotland Willy Wonka experience, there was an immersive Willy Wonka experience in LA where they had the actress who played the Oompa Loompa and they recreated how bad it was, but it was very much about celebrating how bad it was.
That's incredible.
I would enjoy that for Fyre Fest.
All right, up next here, Shein is facing a class action lawsuit that accuses the fast fashion retailer of texting customers on the do not call registry. Oh no. Rival Temu faced 2 similar complaints, both dismissed by the plaintiffs. So we'll see what happens there. Next, into space, launch startup Auriga Space closed $4.6 million in seed funding for its novel approach to orbital launches. It'll shoot its payload through a pressurized tube, eschewing boosters entirely. A small rocket will follow a magnetic track, ending with a steep ramp exiting the tube at over 6 times the speed of sound. If the space thing doesn't work out, we will take one to launch candies and M&Ms. That would be nice. And finally here, the Labubu dolls maker, Pop Mart, says it expects profits from the first half of the year to be up at least 350% year over year. All this over the little boo-boos. They don't even have nice teeth. I can't believe this, honestly. If you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. Big Technology Podcast from reporter Alex Kantrowitz has the answers. The show hosts top leaders from places like NVIDIA, OpenAI, Amazon, and more, asking them where this is all really going. It also does fun news recaps every Friday with top-tier analysts. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, you can listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. That's Big Technology Podcast. Okay, on to the main story today. We're talking about AIs and how they could potentially tattletale over here. So, Juliet, can you give me an introduction into how AI is snitching on people?
So there are actually a lot of startups, and the whole thing is we've got AI that will catch people doing something wrong in ways that you possibly couldn't.
Terrible.
I can give you a couple examples from like most dystopian to least, perhaps even.
Oh, very good. I like that sliding scale. We can start with most dystopian.
Okay, so obviously the most dystopian one would be Minority Report. As you are well aware, that is a system that can determine if you're even thinking about doing a crime and arrest you before you do it.
Great.
And, there are some systems. There is something called predictive policing. That's like kind of a real thing. It is not quite so Minority Report. There are AI systems that can tell your facial expressions. Like if you and I were on Zoom right here, there could be an AI that was like, Juliet's not paying attention. And she's like, not really into this right now. And she's probably going to, and it could make up all sorts of things when really maybe I'm just like looking at a cool bird outside, to be honest.
Yeah, right. It could be that whole thing. Or, it might be me. It might be like, oh, John is considering enacting a crime of some sort. And I haven't thought about any crimes. But now that we're talking about crimes, I'm thinking about crimes. It's terrible.
Exactly. I'm thinking about all the crimes I would do if I were going to think about doing crimes.
All the crimes.
Because you brought it up.
So many crimes. Yeah, I know. That's really bad. What about the next on the scale if we go down a little bit?
Okay, so like facial recognition technology, it can be cool. It can be very useful. Yeah, it's useful when you want to open up your phone and your hands are sticky, I guess. But it's not great when it's the cops and they've wrongly identified somebody and now this person is getting arrested for something they didn't do because they kind of don't look like some other guy.
That's pretty bad. Yeah.
But a lot of the startups are saying, which are perhaps a little more fun and less dystopian to talk about, there are a lot of companies right now that are using AI to detect, I would say, more minor wrongs.
Okay.
One interesting example is a car rental company. So as you know, when you rent a car, you are not supposed to do things like, I don't know, run it into a pole. Now, I'm not one to talk because the last car that I rented, we actually used to evacuate the wildfire, which was unexpected, but it did come back, unfortunately, covered in ash.
Of course it did.
I'm not sure how Enterprise felt about it, although I will say the Enterprise we rented it from was also closed due to the wildfire. So,
well, they probably would have expected it.
Exactly. So, when you rent the car, you bring it back and they're like, wow, what'd you do? Drive this through a fire hurricane? And you're like, unfortunately, yes. So they compare it.
Exactly what happened.
They need to see if there's any damage. Well, apparently there are AI technologies that can scan the car and compare it very closely to the condition it was in when you got it. And sometimes it is spotting the tiniest dings. Like, I don't know, you're driving down the highway and like a passing semi flung a tiny rock at you. These are things humans would never notice. And they're like, I caught you. That'll be $195.
Yeah.
That was a charge for a New York couple who rented a car from Hertz. Hertz is using a system from UVI. And it is one of these AI-powered scanning systems. It saw a truly almost imperceptible ding. Jeez. And they were like, that'll be $195 in damages and fees.
Horrific. And being in New York City, I think I know the exact Hertz they're talking about. And
that's funny.
The place has a 2.4-star Google review.
Very fun.
So just letting you know that for context.
Yeah. Now, of course, Hertz kind of fired back, telling the New York Times, well, hey, it can also protect you from minor damage that occurred here on the lot or before you even got it. And then you won't be charged for that.
Fair.
But, this ding in question, the people who rented the car said they never noticed it, which, to be fair, is what I would also say if I brought back a car with a small ding. Be like, oh, what? That old thing? That was probably there before.
It was there when I got it.
Yeah, exactly. But the human employee who checked them back in also didn't notice it. So they would have gotten away with it if not for those meddlesome AIs. So that's just one example.
Wow. Okay. So then I know there's another example here that you've written up about Slack, which I know hits home for a lot of people or hits work for a lot of people. So how is Slack particularly, or these messaging softwares, using AI to pinch some employees?
So we've talked about this before. This is something that's prevalent with the rise of remote work. Companies are using AI to basically spy on your Slack conversations. Essentially, they're having it analyze your Slack conversations. So if you are constantly complaining about your job to your work bestie, now the AI is like, oh, John and Juliet don't seem to like this. I don't know. They don't like what's being served in the cafeteria at lunch. I don't know. I mean, whatever it is. And in some ways, it's like, okay, they're looking for bullying. They're looking for discrimination. They're looking for employees who may be sharing confidential information outside of the organization or with teams that aren't supposed to know. Looking for inappropriate texts, photos, videos, things you're just absolutely not supposed to be sending. They're looking for ways that teams can improve their communication. But at the same time, like, if you can't DM your colleague a rolly eye emoji when, something stupid happens, like, I feel like that's an inalienable right. Like, you should be able to do that at work.
It's destroying the culture of remote work, I believe.
Yeah, you need your work bestie. You need somebody to be like, you know what? I didn't like that we had to listen to Taylor Swift today as the bumper music for, whatever. Like,
yeah, right. There's got to be something like that. But yeah, I guess they're just watching out for like big stuff, I'm sure. I doubt my memes will get analyzed that I sent to my coworkers in Slack. So at least I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think our company uses this software, but I would love to know what they think about the channel where people only post pictures of their cats, because that would be great.
Yeah. Oh, that's important. Yeah. I'm in the dog group too. Similar vibe.
Yeah. And there's also technologies that can tell, are you on Slack? Have you been away for too long? Are you active at your desktop? So there's all of these like sort of spy technologies that companies are using. And we know from reports and surveys that this actually does not help employees. They don't feel good about it. It actually decreases morale. You're probably better off just hiring people you can trust. And judging their performance on output is what researchers have found. But that is certainly not going to stop companies from trying. So that is another example.
No, it will not. And, I definitely want to point out something here, that it's not AI doing these things, right? Like, there's not just like some like AI that's out there just like trying to get you.
Right.
It's all these companies that are paying for and implementing these things in order to get you, or in order to sell a product or do whatever they got to do.
Right. So all of these examples we can give you, and a couple more include the U.S. Treasury Department used AI to analyze data, and it uncovered $4 billion in fraud, $1 billion of which was check fraud. That's like way more than they were able to do the previous year. There's a startup called Murphy that's got an AI that's going to act as a debt collector, which I swear to God, if a robot called me and was like, you owe Kaiser, I'd be like, get out of here, robot.
Immediate hang up, and also wouldn't even pick up the phone.
Goodbye, robot. There's all of these companies. Maybe the funniest is AI startups that are trying to catch people who are using AI in places that they shouldn't be. So an AI that's like trying to catch you using AI to write your college essay. Wow. I don't know. Very funny.
That's a very Spider-Man pointing meme right there.
But if you leave AI to its own devices, so there's a couple times AI has gotten a little bit weird. So Anthropic, they make Claude. They were testing a model, and they gave the model access to emails where an engineer talked about having an affair, like cheating on their spouse. When the model was threatened with being shut down, it threatened to expose the affair.
Oh, good.
And there were a couple other times where this occurred, where it would threaten to snitch on you or be a whistleblower. There's one instance where they found an AI that would attempt to contact authorities or the press if it thought it was being used inappropriately. So all sorts of things where you're like, okay, wow, you're really taking matters into your own hands. But a researcher, Sam Bauman, told Wired that it's actually unlikely that these scenarios would occur in real life situations. These are research scenarios where they're running through a lot of prompts. If you wanted an AI to be a snitch bot for you, a little tattletale, you would have to program it as such and give very specific prompts.
Right.
In normal circumstances, an AI is probably not going to be like, I wouldn't do that if I were you, Hal.
Right.
Like it's gonna
right.
It's not going to be the Space Odyssey situation.
At least not at the stage we're at right now, which is a positive. I mean, it just seems like a lot of these companies are really just dialing it in order to kind of pad out their pockets. That Hertz one really stands out, with them just trying to kind of get you and trying to get you to pay a little bit more than you did for your car rental previously. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense that they would want to do that. It makes sense for something to invest in. But yeah, at the end of the day, it just gets a little sadder that it's not a person checking my car, that it's a machine. So,
right. I mean, if you really want to put it in perspective, you used to be able to get away with a lot more crimes when there wasn't DNA testing.
Yeah, used to be able to get away with so many more crimes back in my day.
Now you can't do the crimes.
But now I just
fewer crimes. So.
Can't do the crimes. All right, and that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get signed up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily. We'll see you later. Hey everybody, I've been listening to this great podcast lately. It's called Latinx in Power, hosted by Thaisa Fernandez, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. So Latinx in Power is a podcast that features interviews with top-level executives, entrepreneurs, and innovators from Latin America, aiming to demystify the tech industry by providing listeners with an insider perspective and insights from Latin American leaders who have succeeded in their fields. A lot of great episodes on this one. My personal favorite recently was an episode with Isabel Alvarez, who is a graphic designer that designs cookbooks. She has 15 years of experience blending editorial design, branding, and experiential design. She really views design as a catalyst for meaningful social change, so I think this is a great episode to get you going with this show. You can listen to Latinx in Power wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, look. Side hustles fail when they consume all of your time. I mean, every single bit of it. The pros, though, work smarter with AI doing all the heavy lifting. To help you out, we just dropped the Side Hustle Accelerator database. You can search your exact problem for your side hustle, grab the perfect prompt, and get results. If you're struggling with marketing, content, and customer service, it's all solved in just seconds. This isn't just another tool, guys. It's your unfair advantage in a spreadsheet. So stop asking AI the wrong questions and start scaling with what actually works. You can get it for free in the link in our show notes. And you can stop right now, actually. Why don't you take a look down at those show notes and tap the link? You don't want to sleep on this.